Thank you for the opportunity to share. My name is Larry Figueroa. I am currently studying at Western Theological Seminary in Holland, Michigan. The seminary is in Holland, but I'm living in Grand Rapids and doing the distance learning program, so online for this semester. So my testimonio for the class, I thought I'd just talk about three quick things. The first is the path that led me to the course that I selected for HSP. And then the second is the impact that that course had on me. And then third and related is the impact, the continuing impact that that course is having on me even today after HSP, many months after HSP has happened. So with that first, I'll tell a little bit about the course, how I ended up enrolling in the course. The course I enrolled in was the Decolonizing Latinx Sexualities. It's taught by Dr. Matilde Moros. And so in the spring prior to applying to HSP, I was taking a pastoral care class, and we were encouraged for that class to pick one topic that we would engage in and explore for the whole semester, a topic of our choice, and do a series of different touch points throughout the semester. And so I selected the topic of what's the nature of the religious trauma that's been inflicted upon brown Christians on the American continent, specifically in the US, and what sort of pastoral response is necessary in light of that trauma. So the trauma I'm thinking of is the colonization of the American continent and the suffering the indigenous people went through and sort of the generational impacts of that. So that led me into the field of decolonial studies, which I didn't know existed before I had kind of generated that question. And so in that process, I discovered some key texts, Decolonizing Epistemologies, which was edited by Isasi Diaz and others, and some texts by Marcela Altavos-Reed, someone I hadn't ever heard of. So I didn't really know what I was doing or what I was really reading, but had a lot of fun. And then I was applied for and got accepted to HSP and saw the Decolonizing Sexualities class that was being offered, and I felt like the class was ordained for me to take it. And so that leads me to kind of the impact that the class had on me. We engaged in two very dense texts and one moderately dense texts. And so when I wasn't in class, I was either reading or completing the writing assignments that were required. And I believe that in that 2-week span that we were doing the class, that I literally changed just by having to engage so deeply and intensely with those texts. Marcela Altavos-Reed, who I encountered in the spring in this other project that I was doing on, as the main author or main theologian that we engaged with. And so I was surprised and felt even more affirmed that I was enrolled in the correct class. We also talked a lot about the Decolonizing Epistemologies text, although we didn't read it for that course. The final project for that class was we could kind of choose anything that we wanted to do in the decolonial and in the decolonizing sexualities field. And so I decided to do a hermeneutical paper on John 4, the story of the woman at the well. So it's my first attempt at doing some decolonial hermeneutical work. And I just felt that project is extremely life-giving for me. The title of that paper is Jesus is Trans. And so I'm still wrestling with the title of that paper, with what that means about the sort of Christology that I'm bringing to bear upon a title like that, and the topics that I explore. What's this kind of anthropological assumptions that I'm making? All of that is sort of still very kind of salient for me, and I'm thinking through it, thinking about how I might continue to develop what started in the HSP course. So that leads me to kind of how that course has spilled over into the semester that I'm in now. Started in last spring thinking about decolonial, deepened my thinking in HSP, and now I'm really bringing a lot of the topics, the readings, the sort of concepts that I engaged in HSP in each one of my courses. I'll just give one example. Church history, we were given free reign to select any book we wanted discuss or do a book review on. And I selected Violent Evangelism by Luis M. Rivera, and that's a book that came up in that course. And so that's just one small example of how the course is continuing to impact me. So with that, I'll just close with some gratitude for the passion, intensity, and depth of the course itself, and for HSP for creating a space where Latinx Christians can feel at home and feel safe enough to explore their faith and to deepen their commitment to Christianity and to the Christian community.